Hey everybody, this is Pat Teglia doing my first ever critique with my fellow cohort photographer Stephen Wolfe. And today I'm going to be taking a look at five of Stephen's photos. He's usually all about the street photography, but this time he gave me some that are a little bit more up my alley. I do a lot more landscape and nature and nature shoots that aren't primarily street, and so he gave me a few that are not specifically street. So I'm going to go ahead and um, switch it on over here to the Lightroom window, do a little screen share, and I'm going to lock it on this so that we see the right thing. Are you seeing my screen there, Stephen?
Yes.
Excellent. So I'm just going to start from here and go down to here. And we're going to start with this one. Let me... that probably does not work, does it? Hold on a second.
No, I can't see quite the whole thing. That's good. That's better.
Oh, hold on. We'll get it figured out here. Get rid of the info here. So first things first, your star ratings came through on Lightroom for me, which was, I didn't think that would happen. But like you had a 3-star rating on this one, 4 on a couple of the others. Can you tell me what you were doing on this photo? Because I see that this one was shot with the XT1, but it's a black and white, sort of reminiscent of your other works. Whereas it's not the custom chrome that you were, or the classic chrome you were doing with some of your other XT1 shots. So tell me what this photo is all about.
Okay. You mentioned the 3 stars. That's kind of my default. I think I've probably increased the number of stars on this one since I submitted it, or since I gave it to you, because I like this photo a lot. So this is from a walk downtown Columbus where I was out by myself. This was probably early evening, not too long after sunset. And I was walking up High Street, which is one of the main drags in Columbus. And I had been to this location before and really liked the architecture. But I tend to take most of my walks early morning on the weekends. And times I've been by before, it always been closed.
Ah.
So this one, I was happy to see people actually in the place. And it's a very interesting building. So I wanted to shoot it again. And it was, like I said, interesting to see it with people in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it's set up here, it's got these 2 curved glass windows that you can see. And at the time, I think I was paying more attention to the people on the left and trying to photograph them, and just happened to get people on the right. And then later on, when I looked at this photo, I said, wow, this is cool. I have 2 stories going on at once.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I've been thinking about a lot recently. I just got a book called Here Far Away. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a Norwegian photographer, I believe. Excellent photographer. And I really enjoy getting his photos. And one of the things I noticed in a lot of his street photos was that there would be multiple things going on in different parts of the photo. And I've been wondering, how do I do that? So I've been looking for that situation. And I don't remember this particular photo seeing that at the time. But when I saw it afterwards, I thought, this is what I've been trying to do.
Yep.
So I shot this in RAW. I used to shoot almost all my photos in black and white JPEG on images.
Okay.
And I think the quality is good enough that I could push the photos quite a bit. But I recently switched to RAW, and that was after discovering that within Lightroom, I can take a RAW photo and I can apply the Fuji film emulations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's how I've been doing my classic Chrome. In this case, I think I might have done it in classic Chrome, but I'm kind of I like classic chrome, but I think I like black and white better. And so
Sure.
this was a street shot. I thought, okay, I'm going to do this one in black and white. I think the way I did it is to take it into Silver FX Pro after doing some initial processing in Lightroom and did the conversion in Silver FX Pro. Um, I can tell because of this, there's a very thin black border around it. Yes, I did at some point have it in Silver FX Pro because that's where I add that. And
Sure.
that's something I've been doing for the last couple of years. I have that little tiny border. When I print photos, it defines the edge, and sometimes you can lose the edge.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask. That was one of the things on my list was why is there a very thin black line on this photo?
And the answer is usually when I print a photo, I have a white border around the photo,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to lose the edge. So, for instance, this photo at the bottom has that bright white part. Without that black border, if I put a white border around this, the difference between that and that white of the border would be pretty small. And I
Sure.
tend to lose that edge. And I don't
Yep.
want to lose the edge, so I put the black border around there. And it's just something I've been doing on my black and white photos for the last couple of years.
Makes a lot of sense. So a couple things. I'd like to talk a little bit about this photo.
Sure.
Number one, I love the tile up there on top where it says something Brothers Cigars. The tile work up there and the work underneath the window are so cool.
Yes, this is a very cool building.
And the other thing is I had noticed that there was two stories going on, but what I got out of that wasn't I was dragged back and forth between the two stories, and I kept looking at it. I noticed that the girl on the left had spotted you. She's looking at you, and the guy on the right is looking at his reservation or whatever he's doing in there. And I keep going back and forth. But the thing that's most interesting to me is actually the whole rounded tile-topped window there. So I keep coming back to that, and I think, to me personally, there's actually one story going on here, and it's that conversation. On the right is sort of an incidental happenstance to me, and I'm not sure. This is how I am actually with a lot of your photos. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I kind of have a love-hate, and I really love the left-hand side, and the right-hand side says something, but then I see that there's a reflection there, and I kind of want to look at that reflection instead of looking in the window, and then I look at the reflection, I look at the guy, and I get drawn back and forth. So that right side to me, I like it, but then I get distracted by it. So I'm not sure how positive I feel about that. But that's me. Everybody's got their opinions, and that one I keep going back and forth. I'm wavering on that one.
No, I'm fine with that.
I personally,
that you're looking around at the photo and spending time with it.
Oh, and I did. I spent quite a bit of time looking at this one. I like this one quite a lot. I'm just indecisive on whether I like the right side of it or not, and whether I like the right side more as a reflection, because it looks like you could actually see quite a bit of that street there if I don't know, if you moved to the right or something and actually shot it as a reflection. Mm-hmm. And come to think of that, I think maybe Andy had actually shot this one as a reflection. I think she in the Arcanum analog, I saw something like that from her, and maybe that's influencing my opinion of this picture a little bit, because I've seen this building as a reflection shot as well, and I thought it was pretty cool too. So, but everything about this picture is very intriguing. It really pulls you in. So yeah, I had the question about the black line. You answered that. The architecture, the tile, and the I don't know if that's stone or what that's inlaid on the bottom there, but it's just so cool. Makes me want to spend time staring at it. So I think that's pretty awesome.
It was built in the late 1800s. It's one of the historic buildings in Columbus.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty cool. All right. Well, I'm not scoring you or anything on this. I'm just let me refer to my notes here and see if there's anything else that I had said. I liked the composition. I liked your treatment of it. The black and white treatment of this is you do black and white treatment of digital files really well, so that's something I cannot find any fault in.
This one's interesting in color too.
I bet it is. I bet it's really interesting in classic chrome.
Yes. But,
that's sort of
like I said, I'm kind of going back towards black and white again right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you ever do post it in classic chrome, I would love to take a look at it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I like this one. I'm just not sure exactly how much I like the right side of it. Haven't had enough time to stare at it. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one.
Okay.
This, by the way, is my favorite one of your bunch, just because it tells such a story, and I get a strong emotion out of the picture. And your composition on it was pretty much flawless. You didn't cut off the tree, you didn't cut off the reflection. It says, hey, I'm miserable and cold standing in this cold frozen water, and look right over there, there's some land, but it's on the other side of that fence. Oh. I mean, it just tells this story. Huh?
That's actually ice right there in the middle.
I know, it's cold and frozen. Everything about it is just like, ugh. And you shot it very well. I mean, you've got it's well defined from front to back. You've got a great foreground element with the water droplets in the water, and you've got a great background element with the whole tree line and the hedge back there. It's pretty cool. So I told you how I feel about the picture. Why don't you tell me something about what you were doing when you took the picture?
Okay. I like to go out and shoot photos in bad weather.
I can tell.
And that's one of the reasons is because all the other photographers are staying inside and complaining about the bad weather. And so I figured, well, this is a way to get photos that are unique, relatively unique. So whenever there's bad weather, there's a good chance I'm going to be out in it shooting. I read a book recently, Sam Abel, a National Geographic photographer, called The Life of a Photograph. And he talked about his father who taught him to do photography. And one of the quotes in there from his father is that bad weather makes for good photographs. And I wholeheartedly agree, because I was out in the rain, and you can see that from the splashes there and the water below. You can see those water drops on the fence. So I was out with my camera taking pictures in bad weather. This is the Waterman Farm at Ohio State University, which is about half a mile from my house.
Sure.
And probably the place I go more than any other to shoot photos.
Do you just get out and walk?
Yes. So I walk down here, and there's a road that goes through the farm that's a mile long, maybe. And so I walk over here, I walk along the road, take pictures of the same places over and over again in different conditions, and then either continue on and make a loop back home, or like on this night, this was as far as I got, and I turned around and went back home. My house is straight into this picture, probably half a mile. So you get a quarter mile down and hit the neighborhood and then several streets in. So this was one where I specifically wanted to go out in the rain and shoot photos while everybody else was inside. And this particular spot, I knew this big puddle was there, and I was planning to shoot reflections and the water drops. So this picture was in my head before I left the house.
Great pre-planning. That's awesome. I have to say this is one of those great examples of making a great picture out of something that would just otherwise be mundane. I mean, it's a wire fence.
Yep.
I mean, there's just not much to it, but you get the reflection, you get the ice, and the whole atmosphere of the thing just makes the picture. So kudos to you for getting out there in the wet and the cold.
Yeah. I don't mind that stuff at all.
I did not find problems with this photo. The only thing I didn't really like was the light post, or the power post over here.
Yep.
And I mean, there's nothing. I suppose you could clone it out. It's part of the scene, but it intersects this wire right here in such a way that it draws my eye to it every time I'm look. Basically, I look at this tree and then I notice this post.
And I could have cropped it, but
no, I don't think you should have cropped it. I think that's. I think the width of this picture is, a good thing. I like the entire aspect ratio of it, and if you'd cropped it, you would have had to take off some of the height, which either would have impinged on the shadow or the reflection on the bottom or the tree on the top. So, no, I think it's good.
Part of my style of photography I'll call reportage. So I document what's there.
Sure,
now, I document things in an interesting way. Point out things. So this is what was there, and it's my take on what was there.
Yep. Well, I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm saying that I'm not sure if you could have perhaps moved to the right and angled to the left to perhaps remove the elements that are not just specifically this scene.
That would have been difficult to keep the tree in.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. I don't know that what you could have done. Like I said, that's the only nitpick I can find. And this isn't a Mason drubbing, by the way. This is just me saying the only thing I could find wrong with this picture was that light post. And it's not wrong. It's just what distracted me. So
yeah, this is part of the story, really. This is an urban farm.
sure, sure. So this isn't like out in the middle of nowhereville. This is someplace that has, roads and power and everything else. So.
Yep.
All right, cool. No, I love this picture. It's my favorite of the bunch, and I worked really hard to find anything that annoyed me about it at all, and there was nothing annoying. And I worked really hard to find anything that was distracting, and that was the only thing. So.
Okay. Annoying isn't something I want to have my photos called, but.
Nope. And I couldn't find anything annoying. I mean, I will look for annoying things. There, in every one of my photos, there's always something annoying that Mason can pick out, like that pipe in my tree photo. So. And by the time it gets pointed out to me, it's very annoying to me as well. So
Mason has the eye.
He does, man. He can pick out anything. Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, I have a couple comments about this one, but I want to hear what you were doing with this. I see that this was shot with a Canonette, with your little 35 millimeter. I don't know what sort of film or anything else you did on here, whether you used your stand processing.
I believe it was Ilford FP4.
Okay. Yep.
This is Chestnut Street in downtown Columbus. At the far end is the fire museum, so that's an old firehouse. It's now a museum.
It is Ilford FP4. With,
yep.
Well, at least in your notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right.
And it's the firehouse at the end.
It's a firehouse museum at the end. It's an old firehouse that's now a museum.
Okay.
This is one of the few places in Columbus that a street in downtown just kind of dead ends on both ends. So you have the Firehouse Museum on one end, and right behind me is the Nationwide Insurance Building. And this particular street, with those buildings on the side, it always seems very oppressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's kind of what I like about this street, is it has this feeling to it, looking down there, like you're looking down this canyon of buildings that are all very, I guess oppressive is the word I want to say again. And so I like that feeling, and I want to take advantage of that feeling, and I want to treat the photo of that street in a way that emphasizes that.
Mm-hmm.
So how dark I have the buildings is part of that. I really would have liked to have more structure in the sky, and I'll probably go back and shoot it again on another day when there is more structure, just to make the sky a little more interesting. I tried to pull out what I could, but there just wasn't much there.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of this that really makes the photo for me is the figure on the right. It's black, so it's kind of anonymous. It's this person in this oppressive place, and they're not doing it. They're just walking along the street, and then you also see the reflection of the person.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, this picture is all about a mood, and it's not a good mood. Nothing about this photo is supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to evoke some kind of response from the viewer of wow, this is not the place I really want to be. And I guess the snow contributes to that too.
Yeah, that worked for me.
Giving snow on both sides there.
Yeah, it evoked that feeling from me. The things that I think even would have made it stronger are the cars that are crossing down at the end not being there.
Yeah, I agree.
And then if you had, I don't. The Canonette's got a 35 millimeter lens on it.
40 millimeter.
40, yeah. I mean, I got to be honest. I think it probably would have been stronger if you had been able to take your XT1 and zoom in so that the buildings filled up more of the sky.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I didn't think that.
Yeah, because I get the oppressive feeling. I'd almost want those buildings to be, in this image, it almost looks like the building on the left is leaning out a little bit. I know it's not. It's an optical illusion, but I'd almost rather them sort of leaning in to get the perspective correction in there so that you can, so that everything kind of narrows down at the top, and so it's really, everything is coming in on you and making it feel close and not good. I mean, I understand what you're going for in that, and I got it as soon as I opened the picture. I was like, I don't want to be there. So you definitely evoked that emotion. The guy is perfect. That is a perfect element for this picture. Only one person in black trudging, and it's just perfect. And these buildings with their windows that are so narrow and closed, it's yeah. I'm glad that you had a building behind you. You could stand on the sidewalk instead of the middle of the street to take the picture.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying about those cars down there, but I just didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
Where that figure is on the right, I needed to take this at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
And the street right there in the front is probably the busiest street in Columbus.
And it was empty.
So being able to shoot, I had to shoot between the cars going by.
Yeah.
So this is really all about timing, and it didn't work out as far as those three cars down there in the back. Which far enough away and small enough that that's a small element. I got all the other things I wanted.
Yeah. So 2 a.m. Send Andy down the side. No.
I've actually shot this at night, but I don't think
I bet it's a different feel altogether at night.
Yeah. So this again is someplace I will be shooting this again, probably multiple times, just trying to get the right feeling. I agree. I think a longer focal length would be better.
Yeah.
I'm not quite exactly sure what that focal length should be.
I don't know. I mean, 40 millimeters. It's a little wider than perfectly normal. I don't know. I'd be willing to try almost 80 or 60. If you got a 60 millimeter macro for your Fuji X-T1, I'd throw that on there and see what that. Well, let's see. That would be 90, right? So.
Yeah. Now, what I want to do though is I want to get both corners of the street in there, and I don't have much room to back up. So shooting this at 40, I might be able to go 50 and still get the composition I want.
I lost you there for a minute, Stephen. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So there's not much room behind me to back up to use a wider or to use a longer lens and still get the buildings in the foreground.
Sure. No, I agree. You definitely want that one on the right with its just blank facade there. That basically sets the stage, especially with the reflectiveness on the bottom. If you wanted to get another person in that picture, but you could go a little closer. I mean, in 35 millimeter equivalency, maybe 50.
I could go to a 50 millimeter equivalent.
Yeah.
And back up enough so I could still get this shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I want to try, but I doubt that you could get this photo with longer than a 50 millimeter lens.
Yeah, probably not. Do you have the 35 millimeter on your Fuji?
Yes, I do have that one. That was the first lens I got.
Yeah, that'd be about the perfect lens for this, I think.
Yeah, I think I will try that. This would compress it a little bit.
Yeah, and wait until you get some really nasty weather.
Yeah, the problem is the snow is gone probably for the year. So
I'm not so impacted by the snow in this picture. I mean, it adds the atmosphere. It's kind of grungy and dirt and cold, but I'm not sure that's not what really does it. I mean, if you go kind of by your 80-20 rule, what's really making this picture is those buildings and how they're just in on you. Even though this is a wide street, they're just there. So I don't know. I'm not sure the snow is the biggest deal here. I think that what you gain by losing the snow, you're gonna get out of zooming in on these buildings.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give it another try, but I do like the photo. You did exactly what you set out to do with the photo. So
can we go on pause for just a minute? Oh, too late. Sorry. I had a call coming in that I really should have taken, but
I'm sorry. All right. Well, let's move along so that we'll just hurry through the rest here.
Anyway, this is one photo I'm not really sure about, so I appreciate your comments.
Okay. Well, other than the obvious, I mean, you're shooting XT1. Were you shooting classic chrome that day?
Probably shooting in RAW, and this is a classic chrome emulation.
I can't really tell. I wonder if it would allow me to see which type you did in here. It seems to have saved some of your.
It was interesting.
No, it's embedded. It's embedded. I should have known better than that. All right. Well, be that as it may, the picture is really kind of cool. My question on this picture was, I didn't know exactly what you're going for, other than look, there's a crap ton of birds in front of all these buildings and a nice reflection. And maybe that's what you were doing. You saw this opportunity where all these birds took flight, and you're like, well, that's a picture.
No, I was expecting this.
Oh, were you? Were you looking forward to this?
Yes.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about it then, and then I'll give you my comments on the things I see.
This was Sunday morning. I had actually been in the same place. Well, not exactly Sunday. I'd been downtown on Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I was one bridge farther behind where I am right now for this photo. So, quarter to half a mile farther away from downtown in this photo.
Okay.
And these gulls, and I don't know if you noticed, but on the ice in the foreground center,
Oh, yeah, I see them.
That's another probably 1,000 gulls there.
That's all birds.
Yep.
Wow, that's nuts. Okay.
So I was there the day before, and just as I arrived, I heard all this noise, and essentially all of them took off at once and came directly at me.
Did you have a hat?
Well, no. I was walking out on the bridge when I heard this noise, and I saw them coming, and my camera was still in the bag. And I pulled it out as quickly as I could and got it set up. But before I was able to get a shot with all the birds, most of them had already passed me. So I shot what I could, and then decided I'm coming back tomorrow. And so this was Sunday. I came back. Andy came along with me. She was actually back on the bridge that I was on the day before, and I decided to book this closer bridge. And we got there probably half an hour earlier than I'd been there the day before, so we would have time to figure out where we're going to be and get set up.
Mm-hmm.
So we did, and I was standing on the bridge waiting for all of them to go at once, and it never happened. So they were just taking off, hundreds at a time rather than thousands.
Sure.
And so I was shooting whatever they would give me, and this was the best of the bunch. This was, there's probably a couple hundred birds in the air there, but I was really hoping that I'd get a couple thousand.
So
this is another one where I foresaw what I was planning to shoot and was waiting for it to happen.
So this reminds me of when I was in Austin waiting for all the bats to come out from under the bridge.
Oh, yeah, Andy has pictures of
that. I waited for 2.5 hours, and they never came out, those darn bats.
Really?
Anyhow.
You need to have there.
So this picture, a couple of things amaze me about it, and one or two things catch my attention in a not amazing way. But one of the amazing things is that in your framing, you haven't cut one bird in half.
That's on purpose.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I like that a lot. The downside of that is that you cut that building on the left in half, and I almost feel like it would have been better to pull it in to right about here and take a line right here so that your city does an arc.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do one of Mason's tricks, and I'll see if I can develop and see if I can make that crop happen with the way I'm thinking.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think you're going to do without cutting the bird.
No, I get the one down here. But the point that I was trying to make there is that the arc of the city makes for a pretty fantastic composition when it's like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I would even go to the extent, I know you do reportage, but I would go to the extent of removing this bird right here.
Yeah, I can see that.
And finding a crop that allows you to get the arc rather than to do what you had here.
I agree. That's a good spot.
The other thing about this picture that I'm pretty sure I don't like is that I keep getting drawn down to the construction zone. There's nothing you can do about that. You want the river in the picture and its reflections in all these birds, so you're going to get the construction zone. But that's the only part of it that I didn't find attractive. The whole city is really gorgeous and so cold, and it makes me just not want to visit your city. It's so cold there. I'm kidding, but
mine cold. I'm much prefer cold to heat.
I really wish this construction was done so that this picture didn't have that in it. But
you know what?
That's a wish. Next year, yeah. And the river will freeze, and the birds will be there, and you'll get a crop without that building in it.
Yep.
Or probably without that building, because if you include the whole building, then you don't get the nice general arc.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying. I like that. Yeah.
So that's really all I had on this. I like the picture. I like it a lot. I like your gentle sunrise colors happening in the background. I love the reflections on the river. I love the light in the buildings. I love everything about it. But
I originally had a lot more of the river in there, and someone suggested I crop it out.
No, I like the panorama version of this without all the extra river.
I think that we're right. I think it's better this way than having the reflections of the buildings and more of the river in there.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's really good. But yeah, those are about the only two things I could figure to do on this picture.
Okay.
It's an amazing capture. The birds are really quite excellent. I love pictures like this. I've shot a couple of these myself with people walking out onto a spit of land in the Puget Sound here, and the seagulls taking off around them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of thing I look for. Hard to plan for it around here often, but you found a way to do so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of the Austin bats. Let's move on. Now, I need you to tell me about this.
This is my favorite photo.
This definitely evokes feelings, I'll tell you that.
Well, and that's the whole point of it. So this is one of the areas I walk through quite often. It was obviously during the winter, and it was early morning as usual, and I found this doll there, and it just looked so forlorn and forgotten, and just the way it's lying there and in the snow and dirty legs and stuff. It's just so I saw. I got to shoot this, and I tried a bunch of different ways of shooting it, different angles, getting closer, farther away. I think I shot this with 14 millimeter, and ended up putting the doll down to the bottom to make it big, and then having this dumpster in the background is kind of a balancing element. So you got this poor, sad doll in front, lying there, and then this dumpster in the back. And to me, the combination of those was just like, oh man, this is a sad scene. And that's why I like the photo, is because it's so emotional, at least in my mind. So this really is one of my favorite photos because of the amount of emotion that it evokes.
Well, yeah, the picture was one of those immediate evocative sort of pictures. It was like, oh God, I saw the doll in the snow, with its literal guts ripped out, because that piece of plastic is its voice box. It's one of those dolls where you can push on it and it talks and cries and does all these other things. It's got eyelids that open and close. I've got 3 daughters. They have dolls. I know what that is. And to see that discarded, my kids won't let go of any of their toys ever. So I can't even fathom this. I'm like, what little girl is not playing with that right now? That's what goes through my head.
Yep.
And it's pretty sad. I mean,
It's a
you know,
story.
and it is a story. This whole picture is a story. You know, it's actually two stories. It's a sad state of affairs of, you know, somebody and loss, and, you know, something not being used for its purpose and laying there like a broken person.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other obvious statement is, here's garbage, and there's where it should be. And it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the irresponsibility of civilization at this point, I guess. I get a lot of messages out of this picture. I'm not going to use the 1,000 words thing, but I get a few hundred at least from here. So I did want to know, you know, before I went into how I felt about the picture. I have notes here. I know that I don't like the statement that it makes, but I know I love the picture for it. You know, that's not about you. That's the statement that the picture expresses. Somebody is feeling lost. Somebody has not got that toys, and it's like it's just rejected.
And that's really the purpose of my photo, I think.
Yep. Well, you succeeded. I have zero problems with this picture, and I don't know any way that you could make it stronger. I'm of the feeling that you should be closer and wider, but I'm not sure that you could be on an XT1. 14's about as, I mean, I guess you can. There's like a 10 to 17 or something.
Yeah, I don't have that lens.
I mean, if you were to go out and spend a lot of money and buy another lens for this camera, you could maybe get a little wider and closer, but or maybe some cheap Rokinon lens on here for 12 millimeter. You're at 14 millimeters already. So I'm thinking in the realm of possibility you're about as close and wide as you're going to get on this and still tell the story. So, yeah, critically speaking, I can't find any problems with this, other than the way that it makes me feel about whoever dropped it there.
Yeah, I've been thinking, should I go back and rescue that doll and
I don't know what you'd be able to do with it after it had been in this, you know?
give it a decent burial, maybe?
I guess.
I don't know.
No, it's a great image. It's and the one where it keeps coming back to me is evocative. So that's a good one.
That's the kind of photography I want to do. I mean, this to me is a perfect example, as best I can make, of the kind of photography I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I shoot a lot of sunsets and stuff like that. I love beautiful photos.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my thing. That photo was my thing.
Yeah. Well, I find that photo very, very interesting. It's not my type of thing. I'll say that straight up. I'm not a street shooter, and I don't try and find the dirty and ugly in the world to take pictures of it, because I just don't. I totally am drawn to the pretty flowery, sunsetty, sunrisey sorts of things, and I will keep going to those because I try to keep my outlook up nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of demands on life that make it so that I do just that.
Mm-hmm.
But I see the value in your pictures, and they are pretty fantastic. So
I can't explain why I like those kinds of things. I don't like them in the sense of, ooh, this is a really cool thing. I like them in the sense of, this makes a photo that draws emotion from the viewer.
No, I get that, and it's 100% needed. It's not like we want to go out and find more things like this in the world, right? We don't want our world to be overcome with trashed dolls that are missing their purpose. But it certainly is the sort of thing that you can be drawn to take a picture of, because it does tell a story. And it's really hard to tell a story of a flower, right? I mean, you get a flower, it's just a flower, you know. But you get a doll in front of a dumpster laying in the snow with its guts ripped out. There's a story, right? So, I get that. I just don't tend to be drawn to it because I don't want to tell those stories.
Yeah. I think the other thing I like about it is you're not quite sure what the story is.
Yeah.
So it leaves you wondering, what's going on? How did this happen? Why is it like this?
It's a mystery.
Well,
Everybody likes mysteries.
And then maybe part of it, at least in my mind, is if if I show photos like this, then it gets people thinking and maybe making the world a better place.
Excuse me. Oh,
It makes them want to make it better.
sure.
Well, I don't know. That's just something in my head.
Well, we all have our reasons, and your photos certainly hit that sweet spot right there. I'm impressed. Thanks for sharing them with me, and thank you, Stephen, for helping me out with this Path of the Protege critique.
I wish you the best of luck with it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it continues.
I'm looking forward to it too. I hope it pans out where I can help people. That's really what I'm looking to do here. So if any of my things in this critique help you at all, then I feel like we've done a good job. So.
Well, thank you. I think the major thing that you helped me with was on the photo of the canyon. Because I had really mixed emotions about that. Like, is this right? How is this giving the feeling that I wanted to give? And it sounded like it was. So
yeah, it's getting there. Yeah. It is, and I think that you could improve upon it with just a little bit more focal length.
Yeah. I will definitely be trying that. Probably next winter.
Yeah, probably. You can get more snow next winter. Wait till the snowplows go through and make it dirty.
Yeah, I'm having a difficult time with this thing called spring.
Darn it! There's gonna be flowers everywhere, and
it's really fouling up my photo opportunities. So I gotta get out in the rain more.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in finding miserable weather.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll take it all if we can have the sunshine.
You know what? We get plenty of miserable weather here. So if you ever want to come out to the Pacific Coast, we get rain. It's cloudy and yucky all the time.
Well, and I do often come to the Pacific Coast because I have family out there.
Awesome. Yeah, right now it's windy as all get out, and I've lost internet twice during work today. So I'm really happy that we actually made it through without losing this connection. So. Anyhow, I'm going to cut this off. My girls have to go swimming here in about 20 minutes, so I'm going to have to drive them. I appreciate you helping me out on this. And
thank you for the comments. Give me some things to think about.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you later, Stephen.
Okay. Thanks, Patrick.